All right, cool. What's going on, people? Reno here. You know what I'm saying? Haven't done one of these character breakdowns in a while. But yeah, man, I'm thinking let's get back started on it again. All right, so let's start with Osei. Osei, of course, is our main character of the series. He, of course, is a soldier. In the future, of course, an ex special ops soldier. But in the military years, he is a trainee soldier who works his way up through the ranks to be a special ops soldier. So during military years, we'll start there, yeah? So during military years, we see Osei in the US. He's come from the Jamaican military, which I have not explored in terms of from pages yet, but that is where he comes from. He is a Jamaican soldier, and he has done some training years as a Jamaican soldier, but then he has moved to the US to get a special scholarship for both Japanese katana training and also to be a special ops soldier as well. So that is where Osei comes from. He is a Jamaican man. He is a Jamaican soldier born in Kingston. You know what I'm saying? Kingston. St. Patrick's City, to be precise. He actually follows my dad's kind of journey. Because my dad was actually a soldier as well in the Jamaican army. So, yeah, he follows all of that. I'll do a story behind the story breakdown in the future, probably about that, but not for this video. So, right, so Osei. So, he's gone to the US military, okay, right? He has, started his training, right? Doing very well, of course. He's very serious about his commitments to being a soldier, probably more serious than anyone there. And I guess that's probably because of his training already as a Jamaican soldier. So, Jamaican army is no joke, and they already installed the disciplines into him from a young age, where the trainees in the US military, quite a few of them are just starting out. So Osei's got a little bit of an advantage over them. But he doesn't flaunt that. He doesn't showboat that. But as you all know, as the story goes on, he becomes a target of people who are jealous and envious, mainly because of, one, his kind of nonchalant nature is one problem. He's not really a team player. So these are his faults. These are more of his faults, but he's not a team player. He's very nonchalant, doesn't talk much, doesn't like to have small talk, general chit chat. Nah. Does his training, works hard, goes home, rest, wake up before everyone else, trains again. You know what I mean? He's one of those very rigid, strict soldiers who doesn't have any kind of in-betweens, If you lot know basketball, I like to call him having the Mamba mentality. I love the concept of the Mamba mentality with Kobe Bryant. And yeah, I want to put a few of those ideas into Osei's mindset. You know what I mean? But as you know, he does have a wife and child at home. So, of course, he does have his moments where he will, what's the word? Take off the gears, you know what I mean? Take the gears off and relax a bit, But that's when he will call his family and chat to them, speak to his son and his wife and all of that. So that's all there. But as you know as well, so in terms of the pages, we see obviously Osei training really, really hard, working, his butt off to be the best soldier he can be. he gets introduced to Makeda, who is someone who is like a young curious girl, roughly around the same age as him, but you know what I mean, full of energy, full of life, full of interest. And she's definitely interested in Osei, as you will see. But of course, Osei's not interested in the same way back because, you know, got a wife and child, and he didn't really come to the military to, what's the word? To entertain that kind of thing, you know. But, you know, he can't help at least having a talk with her. So, you know, which he doesn't usually, but, you know, I guess there was something about Makeda that made him kind of feel like, all right, whatever. You know, so they meet in a bar later on that same day, have a little chat, and I want you guys to make sure you pay attention to all of these filler pages that I'm doing, because I'm filling in all of the necessary gaps where you'll see a lot of kind of like, you know, foreshadowing, things that are going to actually showcase potential things in the future. So just make sure you really read all of my pages thoroughly to understand Osei, his mindset, you know what I mean, what he's all about, you know, and also, of course, Makeda, who's the first kind of, you know, cameo appearance of another character who plays a key part in the story. Whereas other characters like Makanda, T, Amina, they come actually more in the future. So Makeda's the main one who you'll see during the military years. Yeah, during the military years. In terms of allied characters, you know, but of course, as we progress into the main kind of plot of the military years, which, as you lot know, is the betrayal. That is where you'll see, you know, the likes of William Armstrong, the military leaders, Frank Wallace, General Magambo, Raymond Johnson, who's the key kind of, you know, antagonist of the story. So all of those guys, of course, as you know, get introduced during the plot. But allied characters is just Makeda at the moment. So, yeah, so Osei, of course, like I said, is a very, very focused, strict soldier, you know, who doesn't take hardly any days off or any days breaks. You know, he's got that kind of I'll rest when I'm dead mentality. Definitely is kind of his thing, you know. So he just kind of gets on with it, you know. But he rubs people off the wrong way, because people think that he is arrogant or cocky, overconfident in himself. Like those types of things are what breed when you've got someone who is not very talkative. People can't figure him out. That's the problem, really. So he has all these soldiers who are either in awe of him being this amazing soldier, or they're jealous, you know, because they feel that they're inadequate and they compare themselves to him. And because he's at the top, you know, of like, you know, work rate, focus, development, all that kind of thing, they just see that, you know, and as he gets achievements from his time on the field, you know what I mean, when he actually goes to wars and then on to battlefield grounds, and he earns his achievements, you know, those things also breed this resentment, you know, but it all stems from the fact that he himself is not someone who wants to have general talk. He doesn't care about making friends and all that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's just, it was difficult for him to even kind of, you know, warm up to Makeda, I guess you could say, you know, but Makeda's just very, very in his face all the time, you know, always trying to speak to him, you know, always almost in a way bothering him, you know, but everyone's human, innit? And it's not like he's a bad person, You know, it's just one of those qualities that he never really practiced as a child. You know, because he was a very focused on being, you know, a kind of a bladed soldier from young, you know. Um, Growing up wise, I guess I could talk a bit about that. His motivations come from the fact that he bumped into a Asian man in Jamaica who was traveling, and he was basically reading like a samurai kind of magazine of like famous, you know, samurai soldiers from Asia. And that interested Osei. He liked the idea of, you know, wielding a blade. He saw it as pretty cool because he's always seen like people wielding guns, for example, because Jamaica is a very tough place to live. So he's seen guns, and you know, guns didn't really interest him nowhere near as much as a blade did. So when he was younger, he was training using sticks and like hitting trees with sticks. So like trying to imitate the slashes of a blade on a tree with like a stick. And when he started getting into that, he became so addicted that they decided that, okay, like when I say they, I mean, sorry, his parents decided that, yeah, it might be best to kind of train him as a soldier because they could see his commitment and his discipline from a very young age. So that's where he started off with the Jamaican military, but the Jamaican military could not give him the training he needed. But they did promise him that, of course, if he becomes strong, kind of almost, I guess, full-fledged soldier, then he could go to the US and receive special training there, and also potentially get even a blade to work with. So that was all part of that whole excitement and focus to push him to do that. So, so outside of being a soldier, Osei doesn't know much. You know, he dedicates all of his time to being a soldier. He is a decent family man. He's a decent father, I guess you could say, as well, to his son. But he doesn't get to see them much because he's always away. But when he is there, he does try and he does do his part to support his family, sends money home to them as well. Like, you know, so he's a bit more of like an old school kind of man in that sense, you know, where he provides for his family, you know, by, you know, ways of finance. And when he gets there, he tries his best to put his wisdom into his son. So that type of mentality, definitely. Old school kind of father type figure. Yeah, I think that's like from military years and kind of childhood perspective, like that's kind of him in a nutshell. You know, as we of course proceed to the day of reckoning, when there are a lot of changes, Osei's personality changes a bit as well, you know, where he might be considered more of an anti-hero, but that's all up for suggestion. But yeah, man, all I would say is that's pretty much it, really, you know, in terms of him. So all I would ask you to do is support my story, you know, support my Patreon. Go on there and subscribe because most of my updates are going to be on there. You know, in terms of, you know, really exclusive stuff that I'm working on at the minute, you know, that will be put on there. So I would suggest that if you love the story, you love what I'm doing with it, subscribe, definitely. And you'll be helping me, you know what I mean, to make sure that I keep pushing this story in the direction that it needs to go. All right. Till then, I'll do another breakdown. Probably the next one will be Mikanda next. I'll do a full on breakdown of him. But until then, yeah, man, stay blessed, stay humble, and yeah, man, stay righteous. Bless.